Let me tell you something that changed my life. Not just my career, not just my mindset, but my life. Every single day, without fail, you've got to take a moment to find stillness. I'm not talking about zoning out on your phone or catching a few more minutes of sleep after hitting snooze. I mean being still with your own mind, being present with yourself, and getting honest about how you're doing. That clarity. It's a game changer. You can't walk through this life on autopilot and expect to feel fulfilled. You can't go full throttle on everybody else's expectations and forget to ask yourself, how am I doing? You've got to check in. For me, it started with 5 minutes a day. Just 5. No noise. No distractions, no pretending. I sat with my thoughts. Some days it felt awkward. Some days it got emotional, but was real. And over time, it became one of the most powerful habits I've ever built. Because clarity doesn't come by accident, it comes by intention. When you give yourself the gift of silence, you create a space where truth can speak. You see your patterns more clearly. Your decisions become more grounded, and you start recognizing what's working and what's not. We're living in a world that's loud. Notifications, emails, texts, opinions flying at you from every direction. It's easy to get swept up in it all, to mistake movement for progress and busy for purpose. But there's a big difference between being productive and just being distracted. When you don't take time to check in with yourself, you start running in circles. You react instead of respond. You chase validation instead of pursuing purpose. You lose track of who you are because you're too caught up in who everyone else wants you to be. And I get it. Life gets busy. You've got responsibilities, people counting on you. But let me ask you this, how can you give your best to anyone else if you're not giving anything to yourself? That silence at the start of your day, that's not selfish, that's survival, that's strength. That's how you build emotional armor, not by shutting down your feelings, but by understanding them. That's how you stop carrying yesterday's pain into today's potential. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe it's journaling for a few minutes, just dumping your thoughts on paper. Maybe it's deep breathing. Maybe it's looking out the window with a cup of coffee and no agenda. But whatever it is, make it yours. Own it. Show up for yourself the way you show up for everyone else. Because nobody else is responsible for your peace of mind but you. This isn't just about stress relief, though that's part of it. It's about power. It's about building the kind of mindset that doesn't break every time life throws something unexpected at you. When you practice reflection, you get ahead of your reactions. You stop spiraling, stop catastrophizing, and start leading yourself through whatever chaos the day throws your way. You become more intentional with your energy, more selective with your attention, and more confident in your choices. That's where real discipline begins. Not in some checklist of tasks or some hardcore routine, but in a quiet moment where you ask, what do I need today to be my best self? And then you listen. You honor the answer. That answer might be rest. It might be forgiveness. It might be courage. But whatever it is, that daily check-in is where it starts. You want to level up your life. Start by checking in with the person who's living at you. Don't wait for burnout to force you into reflection. Make it a non-negotiable. The world will keep spinning. The work will still be there. But the way you show up, that's different when your mind is clear and your heart is steady. Give yourself that space every single day, even if it's just a few minutes. Make it sacred. Make it yours. Because your peace, your clarity, your connection to yourself, that's the foundation for everything else you want to build. And once you start making that a habit, you'll notice the world doesn't shake you the same way anymore. That's what mental clarity does. It gives you the power to lead your life instead of just surviving it. Let's get real about something most people take for granted until it catches up with them. Your body, your energy, your health. This isn't about looking good for social media or trying to hit some number on a scale. I'm talking about honoring the one vessel you've got to carry you through life. You can't live at your highest level if you're dragging yourself through each day running on fumes, pushing past warning signs, and pretending that exhaustion is just part of the hustle. No, taking care of your body isn't optional. It's the foundation for everything else you want to do. I've been there. I've overworked, underrested, eaten junk on the go, skipped workouts because I thought I was too busy. I thought grinding harder meant I was doing better. But you can't pour from an empty cup, and you definitely can't lead a powerful life if your energy is always on empty. When I started putting real effort into fueling my body, eating right, moving every day, hydrating, sleeping enough, and notice something, everything else got better. My mood, my focus, my drive. It wasn't magic, it was maintenance. The kind of maintenance we should all be doing daily. Just like brushing your teeth or charging your phone. You don't have to run marathons or eat like a bodybuilder. That's not what I'm saying. But every day without fail, you've got to do something that nourishes you. Something that respects the fact that your body isn't a machine. It's a living system that responds to how you treat it. And when you treat it with care, it rewards you. You wake up with more strength, more clarity, more presence. You stop just surviving the day. You start showing up in it with power. Let's start with food. Fuel, not filler. If you're stuffing yourself with processed sugar and junk because it's fast and easy, you're not just hurting your body. You're hijacking your energy. You're setting yourself up for a crash before the day even gets going. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy life. Of course you can. But be intentional. Know what fuels you and feed your body like you actually want to live long and strong. Because I promise you, when your body feels good, your mind works better too. Then there's movement. I don't care if it's a full gym session, a walk around the block, stretching for 10 minutes, just move. Every day, your body was made to move. When you sit still all the time, when you don't activate your muscles, your energy sits still too. You get sluggish, stiff, tired, and you start feeling old before your time. But motion is life. You move, you breathe deeper, you think clearer. Your stress releases instead of building up. It's therapy, physical and mental. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. And don't sleep on the basics, hydration and rest. Two of the most overlooked but powerful habits you can build. Water sounds simple, but being even a little dehydrated messes with your focus, your mood, and your performance. And sleep. Listen, I used to think I could get by on 4 or 5 hours, but that catches up. You can't operate like a champion when your brain is foggy and your body is worn down. Sleep is where the body recovers, where the mind resets. It's not laziness, it's strategy. Here's the truth. Taking care of your body is one of the most disciplined, loving things you can do because it says, I value myself enough to show up fully. It's not about ego. It's about capacity. The better your body feels, the more you can do. The more energy you've got to give to your goals, your relationships, your creativity, your mission. Health is wealth. But most people don't realize it until they're bankrupt. And if you're already doing some of these things, I salute you. Keep going. If you've fallen off track, don't beat yourself up. Just start again. Start small, but start today. Pack a healthy lunch. Take the stairs. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Drink that glass of water. Stretch when you wake up. Little by little, those things stack up. And before you know it, your body starts feeling like your ally, not your obstacle. You owe it to yourself to live in a body that supports the life you're building. Don't wait until the doctor gives you a wake-up call. Don't wait until you've burned out. Honor your body now. Respect your energy now. Because when you take care of your body, you're not just investing in your health, you're investing in your future, your potential, and your power. That's how you stay strong, not just physically, but in every part of your life. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something just for you that helped you grow, stretch, or move forward in life? I'm not talking about putting out fires or doing what had to be done. I mean something that spoke to your potential. Something that gave your day meaning beyond the usual grind. Because every single day, you've got to feed your purpose. Every day, you've got to give yourself some kind of progress. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be flashy. But it does have to be intentional. I learned a long time ago that if I'm not growing, I'm stuck. And when you're stuck, life starts to feel small. You start going through the motions, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, living the same week over and over again and calling it a life. That's not living. That's surviving. And you were made for more than that. You were made to build, to expand, to create, to evolve. But that only happens when you commit daily to doing something that moves you toward the version of you that you haven't fully met yet. It doesn't have to be a big production. Maybe it's reading 10 pages of a book that challenges your thinking. Maybe it's writing out a plan for your goals. Maybe it's practicing a skill, learning something new, taking a small step toward a dream you put off for too long. The size of the step doesn't matter. The habit of stepping forward is what counts. Because when you string enough of those steps together, something amazing happens. You gain momentum. And momentum, that's power. That's fuel for the fire inside you. We live in a world that keeps trying to pull us away from ourselves. Distractions everywhere. You're constantly being told who to be, what to do, what to chase. But real purpose, that comes from the inside. That comes from listening to what you want, what you value, and giving yourself permission to pursue it, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Purpose isn't handed to you. You've got to uncover it. And that uncovering happens in the work you do each day to grow into your highest self. You've got gifts. You've got ideas, talents, perspectives, things the world needs. But they don't just bloom on their own. You've got to water them every day. You've got to invest in yourself like you're your own best project. Because you are. When you put time and energy into becoming better, you're saying, I believe in my future more than I fear my past. That mindset changes everything. But let's be real. Growth doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it means facing things you've ignored, stretching in ways that make you doubt yourself. But that's exactly where the magic is. Because when you push past what's familiar, you start discovering new levels of strength you didn't even know you had. And once you've touched that kind of strength, you don't go back. You start walking taller. You start choosing differently. You start owning it all your life in a whole new way. I've had to rebuild more times than I can count. I've had to restart, relearn, redefine what success meant for me. But every time I committed to daily progress, no matter how small, it paid off. That quiet, consistent work, that's what built my confidence. Not applause, not trophies, progress. Because when you can look yourself in the mirror and know that you moved forward today, even just a little, that's when you start to trust yourself. And that trust is everything. I want you to understand something. You don't need anyone's permission to grow. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is a decision to show up for your own evolution, a decision to stop waiting for the right moment and start creating the right movement. You don't climb mountains in one leap. You do it one step at a time. And each day you dedicate even 10 minutes to building something. Your mind, your body, your craft, your future. That's one step closer to the life you were born to live. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the stars to align. Start now. Feed your purpose. Give yourself something each day that reminds you who you are and who you're becoming. Because when you commit to progress, even in the smallest ways, you start turning your life into something extraordinary. Day by day, choice by choice, step by step. That's how you build a life you don't need a vacation from.